Hey everyone, Moron Abound here. I just wanted to make a video on my opinion on Highlander after the CCU update. Now that all the damage numbers have settled and everything's in a much more sensible state, I felt like it was time to give my opinion on the matter. For those of you paying attention to the Reddit sphere of influence, most likely will have noticed that Highlander's been getting a lot of hate recently, mainly because of the janky animation of the second light, and this is not something I'm here to defend. It is a shoddy, very hastily thrown together solution to one of the problems that Highlander has had since his release. This problem, in and of itself, was the fact that he had a 600 ms to 700 ms light chain. Buffing the lights is not the problem. The problem is that Ubisoft decided to not smooth out the animation whatsoever and make it a janky, broken mess. However, the amount of ridiculous vitriol that I'm seeing recently, I recently had a couple games where it was just non-stop. People non-stop insisting that Highlander was broken. That the fact that his current state makes him completely overpowered. And I don't particularly see it. Highlander's in the same state right now that, in my opinion, he's kind of always been. The light attack buffs for defensive stance make him a bit more usable from neutral. But it doesn't solve the core problem that the character does not exist in a 1v1 scenario. You can literally choose when you want to disengage Highlander if you're in a 1v1 scenario with them. Unless you make a mistake and dodge roll at a very obscure timing on the offensive stance heavy, you are not going to get caught by a Celtic Curse feint. And just in general, if you know how Highlander works and if you've played the game, you will not be caught by nearly anything his offensive stance has to offer, unless you choose to play the game and you choose to read Highlander, which in my opinion is now much more fair. I have been an advocate for the 30 damage offensive stance heavy largely since it was buffed to 40 damage. I think that 40 damage was way too much for way too long. Again, I'm in agreement that the animation on the second light is very janky and needs to be fixed as soon as possible. The animation is very hard to read. Animations in this game need to be very clear and very smooth to be able to read them properly. I will give that to you all 100% for people complaining. Like, I agree with you. It's a very janky animation. It's very rough. I would love to see it fixed. That being said, I believe saying that Highlander is overpowered and broken because of it is disingenuous. I would be doing myself a discredit, and to everyone watching this video, I would be doing you a discredit as well if I didn't mention Highlander's strengths. The character is still very strong defensively, and I think that's something that needs to change. I would absolutely be all for removing some of Highlander's defensive strengths in favor of some buffed offense. For instance, I've been suggesting for a while that Highlander received another soft feint on the branch from his kick into his caber toss. If you wanted to, instead of continuing to the caber toss, and if you read your opponent is going to roll, I suggest that Highlander would be able to dodge forward to cancel the kick at the same timing he would branch into caber toss. This would allow him to flow into Celtic Curse, which I would also buff to be undodgeable on the side feints in order to properly track a roll. This would also allow him to sort of pseudo feint out in order to parry a dodge attack. Again, this would reward the Highlander for a correct read, and it is a function that allows his core mix-up in offensive stance to function properly. Highlander still needs some way to catch rolls and some way to force people to stay in the fight, on a correct read, of course. Right now, as it stands, as always, Highlander does not have the tools to sustain a 1v1 scenario. If someone wants, they can leave. He has poor problems keeping someone in a fight, and he has poor problems tracking someone who wants to leave a fight. By the time you read that they're rolling, there's nothing you can do about it, as you can't feint the offensive stance kick. Now, that's my opinion. I believe that Highlander is largely in the same state that he has been for a while. His defensive nature is very apparent. I'm not denying that Highlander is a very strong character defensively, and I would be doing myself a discredit, and everyone watching this video a discredit if I admitted anything else. Highlander is very strong defensively, and I would love to see his defensive options toned down even further. Perhaps a further nerf to the offensive stance heavy, although I would kind of hate to see it because I feel like 30 damage is a good spot. Perhaps some sort of stamina cost to the offensive stance dodges, although in my opinion, I believe that wave dashing isn't as rewarding as it was before. But in any regard, that's my opinion on the matter. Another thing I would like to add is that I am working on an actual video, as you can probably tell by the footage you're seeing. I hope to have that out soon for you guys to watch. Regardless, I hope everyone enjoyed the video and that it was informative, or it shed some light on a new opinion. But in any case, I hope everyone has a wonderful day or night, depending on your time zone.